And there's 2 new people.
2 people, and then we got a late application too, and she was not happy with the Sunday letter come in, because I said, you can't send a resume on Sunday.
Right.
The cutoff was Thursday. Okay, encourage her to reapply next year. So,
Company's done a good job. Okay, so really,
So Brian he's a current board member.
yeah, he says on the historical.
He sits on the
He
museum.
applied.
he sits on the museum. Right,
He says on the historical preservation.
and the
committee.
museum.
Oh, is he on both?
Oh, then he applied for the child council, or for, yeah.
Wait a minute. He's on the museum,
Mhm.
but is he on the Historic Preservation Commission also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then why are we interviewing him?
For the Parks and Rec.
No, Park County,
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, I see. Okay.
'Cause I know he's on the museum board, 'cause I go to those every month.
Hey.
He's in Dakota.
Yeah, you got to code on 2 boards too.
Yeah.
But both of those boards make sense, museum and Park County Preservation.
Yeah. So Brian, I think online, he's there waiting, so he's gonna do his virtual when you guys get to him.
Okay.
Are we live right now?
You're not live broadcasting. We just got GoToMeeting, yeah.
Okay.
Colleen, did you get your button yet? Don't forget.
Oh, yeah, are you ready to start?
I don't know.
No.
You're ready, we're ready.
I'll push the button if you're.
All right. Didn't you want to get right out there?
I will.
Well, hoping this is recording. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go in the chair.
Oh.
I know you know the drill, so we'll let you take off, tell us what you want to tell us, and then we'll ask questions.
Okay, well, as most of you know, I've been,
I tell you, Ray, you can pull your mask down if you want, so we can hear you a little bit.
Okay.
There you go.
all right, as you guys well know, I've been involved in history for the past 20 years. I was a former member of the Preservation Commission twice, and I was president of the commission when they started to decide what to do with this museum. I started the ball rolling on that. I got background in history in college. Of course, 20 years as Park County's cowboy ambassador, and my philosophy is we're losing so much history. Being torn down, people are dying, and not telling their historical stories and that. But I think that we need to preserve our history for the next generations and that, because it seems to me if something's getting old, immediately you want to tear it down. But if there's a way to save it and give the history behind it, so that future people can say, hey, this is the way it was, I think it's great. As it is now, I seem to have a lot of leisure time as I can't get bookings anywhere. So I would like to apply for a position on the commission.
All right. What questions?
Ray, thanks for applying and thanks for your service in previous on here. I really don't have a whole lot of questions, although are you, I'm sure you are, but familiar with the Park County Archives in the library?
Yes, I am. I go up there frequently. Matter of fact, they've already got a file on me up there.
Yeah.
I guess there's other places that have it too. You've got one on me in the Smithsonian, but it's listed under bucket Tom Bucket O'Day,
Oh,
and then bucket of beer. But aside from that, yeah, I'm glad of the archives.
well, I figured you probably were, you obviously, I'm sure know more about this position than I do. So, but I really appreciate you stepping up and volunteering again.
You know, we still have a pretty current history. We weren't settled until, what was it, 1896 or there approximately thereabouts and that. And history should be fresh in people's mind. I know it is over the mountain in Buffalo. Because I've done some shows over there and I didn't have all my marbles lined up on the Johnston County War, and I was sure told about it. But yeah, I think that the Preservation Commission is an important thing. They're not teaching, and I've seen this all over the state, and I've gone through 26 states. They're not teaching history as we were taught it. They're rearranging things, they're changing things around and making it politically correct. But if we can save a structure or promote some kind of well, I was thinking of maybe an event where we could get people from the community come together and tell some of their family stories. You know, and at the Grizzly Room, matter of fact, I was the first entertainer to use the Grizzly Room at the library. But there's so much history, and if we can get the on the ball here and save what we can before it's gone. And I'm scared right now, I really am. That we're gonna be losing a lot of stuff. And like I say, I want to be there to save it. I don't want to just sit on my ducks and say, oh, well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Do that.
That answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. I do, and I just want to add that to me, you're spot on as far as trying to preserve her, but it's more than structures, it's the heritage.
Well, yeah, the structures
But the heritage of
landmarks, places where events happen. That's why I got to get so disappointed with the cowboy shooters here at the Irma. The stories they portray have nothing to do with Wyoming. I know what I'm doing, but that's neither here nor there. But we're still getting a lot of people. I had some people here from Austria 2 years ago that I showed them around the county. And matter of fact, they wanted to go to the reservation I set up so they could go down there and talk to a Native American so they could see what it was like living there. And that gentleman just gave me so much history that I didn't know about the reservation. It was mind-boggling. And this county was part of that at one time too. If they ever get their million acres and stuff, we'll probably have a reservation outside the city limits, you don't know. But there again, I want to do something, I want to utilize what I'm 77, one-eyed outlaw, so I still got plenty of time.
All right, great. Lee, you got questions?
Nope, I appreciate you applying, Ray. I've seen you come in front of us before, and you know, if you don't get appointed, keep on coming. Thank you.
Okay.
Nothing?
No, again, Ray, thanks for applying. My questions usually have to do with serving on boards, but you have served on boards, and I know.
Yes, I have. I was on it for 2 terms.
Okay.
In the last term, I ended up being president.
Okay,
And then when you guys were trying to decide what to do with this building out here, I got up before you and suggested there's no sense in bulldozing it down. It's got history. It was the last building, Lee and Cody headed west, and the first building you saw in Cody when you were headed east. So it has historical value, and they've done a great job with the library.
well, thank you for all your work, and I'm glad you applied. Thanks.
Okay.
No questions, Ray. Thanks for applying.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep, I don't have any questions, Ray. Certainly thank you for your time today and appreciate your application. We'll be in touch with you.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm awkward as heck, so just bear with me.
Don't get in a hurry, Ray.
Oh, you know, I find it kind of novel. I'm 77. I'm still able to get out and ride. I rode the other day. And I guess it's, I'll tell this little story. These people from Austria were here and they were getting ready to leave. We were having breakfast at Granny's and I asked them, have they gone to the Proud Cut to get a steak dinner? Because they have pretty good food. And they said they hadn't. I said, well, when you go there, issue a side order of mountain oysters. And the gal looked at me and says, we don't eat seafood. Which opened a whole new venue of, I had to tell him how he harvested, so. But she was all serious.
All right, thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Brian, I see you're on virtual with us. How you doing today?
Good. Yeah, I'm under quarantine right now because my girlfriend tested positive. So fun times.
All right. Well, go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us about yourself. Then we'll ask questions.
So I'm applying for the Park County Parks and Rec Board. I heard you guys talking. I was also up for reappointment for the Historic Preservation Board. So I don't want to cause any confusion. I'm applying for the Parks and Rec Board. And yeah, I'm just applying for this because you know it's a subject that I care about and I feel like I can make a contribution. I know I'm involved in plenty of other stuff, but I know sometimes you folks have problems filling these boards, and that makes me sad. And I just don't want to see the lack of interest in these community boards, so I just wanted to apply.
Okay. Lloyd, questions?
Brian, Commissioner Teal, thank you for applying. I'm going to point blank, what do you feel the Park County Rec Board is for?
So for supporting local entities in the community that support recreational opportunities around the county.
And with that follow-up, based on possible revenue shortages in the next coming years, how do you see the rec board functioning or maintaining?
Yeah, so I've thought about that, and I understand the whole revenue thing is difficult. I think the mission would be to evaluate what entities would have to cease operations altogether with lower funding versus what entities would just have to reduce services and then plan accordingly.
Okay, well, Brian, thank you for applying. I really look up to people that are willing to step up like yourself. Thank you.
All right, Lee?
No questions. Commissioner Teal kind of swiped one I was going to visit about, and that was, declining revenues, but obviously you've got board experience, and I appreciate you applying, Brian.
Yep.
Nothing.
Hi, Brian. I usually ask questions about board service, but because I sit with you at the museum board every month, I know about your board service and that you seem to give it your all, whatever you get into, and I appreciate the work that you do on that, and I'm glad you applied for this one. Thank you.
Jerry?
Hey, Brian, thank you for applying. Have you been to a Parks and Rec board meeting?
I have not. I didn't know where they meet or when they meet or anything. No.
That's where I was headed. Do you have the time to commit this? I mean, you think you can make 80% of these meetings?
How do I say this? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm rich in time. I'll say that. Yeah, I do have plenty of other things going on, but one meeting a month is not too burdensome. So yeah.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, Brian, the Parks and Rec Board meet on the second Wednesday of each month, and they actually meet in the evening, usually starting at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Brian, I don't have anything for you. I know you will, and I know when you do something, you do it 100%. So anyway, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, great.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Richard Lasco?
Yeah. Let it go, you know.
Zooming in.
Oh, you Bob?
Let's talk about,
Not here now. Not here yet, but Bob Graff is here.
let's talk to him. We're 10 minutes early.
Pardon?
Bob Graff is here for the P and Z commission.
Okay,
You want to talk to him?
yeah, bring him in.
Okay. Bob, they're gonna talk to you now. Yeah. You don't have to hang around.
Pull up chair.
A hot seat.
That's the hot seat today.
All right.
Okay, the way we work this, we'll give you an opportunity to tell us what you want to about yourself, and then we'll ask questions.
Okay, very good, yeah.
Take off.
I'll get going. Of course, in the application, we've been here 6 months. We're not, like fleeing any kind of libtard-ish areas. This is where we wanted to be. I had worked for Husky Oil Company up here about 40 years ago, and rather enjoyed the territory and all. So this is where the wife and I plan to spend the rest of our lives here is Powell. And so now as far as planning and zoning, it's been several years ago having lunch with some friends of ours, and he was a councilman for some small city in California. We were yakking a little bit, I told him, really probably one of the most interesting things I can think to do is actually on zoning and planning. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and put my name in for the position, see what happens. But I'm a graduate engineer, been a practicing engineer for about 38 years, petroleum engineer. What kind of thought things logically and kind of put emotion aside, things like this, fact-based conversations. So that could probably be a pretty good fit for something like this. But so that's really about, that's about the Bob Graff story. My wife and I have been married 44 years. And we have one son in Laramie. And we, like I said, we just got found the house online, realtor.com. It's got to be before the big rush get into this, everybody's trying to move into California and all that, we're not part of that bunch. So, but we ended up with a house. The wife is about as happy with the house as she's ever been. So, we're rural, but not too far from town. And that's about it for me, unless let you guys fire away.
All right, questions?
Well, Bob, I appreciate you applying. Not sure if you realize what you're getting yourself into here. So, Planning and Zoning Commission is probably the most active committee board we have. I think they'll all agree on that. So, are you willing to put in lots of evenings and extra time?
Well, I'm at this point, I'm generally retired, so I do have time. So, and I was reading some of the minutes from previous, and there's a lot of agenda items for this committee.
I guess one question would be, I don't know, easy way to put this. How are you about, do you like everybody to like you? Because you're going to be controversial.
Well,
Issues there that you're going to have to stand your ground probably.
well, I've faced a little of that in my career, and so, it's not a question to be liked, it's a question to be fair. And, I think if somebody's been treated fairly and that, you get away with not necessarily being completely fine.
You're okay with qualifications?
Well, confrontation's okay. Don't bring a knife to gunfight. So,
Well, thank you. Thank you for, Bob. So your neck out.
well, appreciate it, Jack, because I know sometimes, in smaller areas and stuff like that, it's really kind of hard, hard to get people to ante up, And so I thought, well, I want to just try to make an appearance and look like I want to try to contribute to our county and communities, so.
Okay, great. Well, you got anything else out there?
No, yeah.
All right. See?
Yeah, Bob, appreciate you applying, and if you're not afraid of controversy or confrontation, you might want to consider county commissioner. But is there anything specific in the zoning of Park County that any one area that you would have concern about or be interested in?
As far as like specifically the zoning and stuff, we're really very, very happy with our rural lifestyle and things like this. I know just outside of Powell, down the road from us, they're talking slaughterhouse and things like this. But, just, I don't have any problem with like development, and this development just happens with growth. But it would be nice if, any zoning changes, proposals, things like this, have some kind of sensitivity to surrounding landowners and that's, kind of compatible usage.
Okay.
That's kind of my big concern, right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, nothing?
My questions have more to do with board work. Have you been on other service boards?
So, I was on the ballot for the Powell Hospital District. And, went down in flames, but, so, but once again, I was going to look forward to it, and specifically boards, no.
So what do you see as the role of a board member? What, I'm using P and Z or planning and zoning.
Well, my impression from what I was reading, there's a planning board and a planning group who I think probably forward certain proposals to the board. The board would then move forward on their recommendations that commissioners that have had more questions essentially just have to work back down the line again. And so, review these proposals, ask questions, try to figure out if there's better ways. Have a lot of the avenues been looked at, or is there an alternate way of looking at things? So,
Thank you. Thanks for applying.
thank you.
So what do you know about the planning and zoning board? You said you looked at some minutes. What can you tell me about the board?
Well, it's, I'm trying to think if this is part of the planning and zoning, the small wastewater systems. I don't know if that's part of this board or not. Of course, I've lived with septic systems and wells and, domestic water wells but specifically, there's just a ton of items on that agenda item, that meeting minutes that I've seen. And, but looks like, there's plenty of stuff going on in this little county, and, but specifically, I'm hard pressed to sit there and give you like specifics.
Well, it was a really short window. You apply and you're interviewing and if you had a chance. But no, we appreciate you applying. Thank you.
Well, you've been more than welcome. I'm kind of pleased to actually be interviewed. So, see if we can make her happen.
Anything else? No. Okay. Yeah, I got one quick question for you, real quick. What is your overall feeling about planning and zoning and rules and regulations in primarily a rural county like Park County? Do you think we have too many regulations? You don't think we don't have enough?
From what I've seen so far, I really have not been up against anything that's just totally objectionable. Probably one thing that kind of struck me early on was like a guy wants to change his oil in his truck and things like this, where do you actually dispose of your waste oil, things like this? I know those are kind of a county function in like Laramie County. And so, and because really the options are, you call the auto parts guys and they say, well, I don't know, I go, well, that's not much of an answer. You guys sell this stuff, But, so, probably, I'd probably like to see personally some little bit more opportunity for household hazardous waste stuff, but I think that's out of the realm of the zoning planning really, but now as far as other regulation goes, I tend to be kind of a minimal regulation kind of guy. With respect to, of course, we use our farm also, haven't really been approached with anything that stifles our ability to do anything. But from what I see right now, I think things are just about right. And as far as, regulations and regulations, a lot of regulations are made for a reason. Sometimes there's outfits or people or whatever who decide they either ignored them, didn't know, or what have you. I kind of got involved from a company point of view with an encroachment onto an easement, and I had the displeasure of sitting in front of the board explaining that. But and again, it was a rural setting, but it's I made a commitment. I said, if you guys ever need to expand your right way, whatever, we'll just move our stuff. There's a little bit of give, a little bit of take. There's some things that aren't just necessarily cast in stone, but if it's become a problem down the road, as long as we had somebody agreeable to move, and if they have encroached. But so there's opportunity for kind of a reasonable solution if something like that would happen. But other than that, I haven't found anything objectionable yet. I kind of pay attention to paper and stuff like that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much for your application. Appreciate your time.
Oh, you guys are more than welcome. I appreciate the opportunity. So, and
We'll be in touch.
so I don't know if he's looking at the back of me the whole time.
Yeah.
Probably better than anybody else. All right. Well, thank you so much. You people take care.
All right, thank you. Susan, they want to see if Mr. Lasco's out there?
Thanks for that. Mr. Lasco? Come on. Stay right there.
Just pull up, see, you can take your mask down and talk.
Thank you.
Okay, the way we work this, we'll give you an opportunity to tell us about yourself, and then we'll ask questions. You can certainly ask questions of us, so take off.
Okay, myself, just retired last summer, 33 years with the National Park Service as a variety of jobs. Most of my tenure was a landscape architect, planning, design, construction on projects from Alaska and the shores of the Bering Sea all the way down to Corpus Christi and everything in between. I have an undergraduate degree from San Diego State in outdoor recreation management, and been Cody 25 years in February, I think. I'm very big into the outdoors. Besides my own lifelong thing, and you name it, I probably did it, sports. Coached a lot of high school sports back in San Diego, where that's my hometown, and coached here in Cody my kids from the time they're in t-ball, pull up into soccer and things like that, a lot of things. So now, just retired and enjoying the dickens out of it, and now it's time to clear the table and invest back into the community a little bit. I have a passion and would probably be, some of the newer things that are happening including right now. Actively involved in the Wyoming Club. And some of the races, the gravel bike race, I did that thing. So I'm kind of getting a sense there's a kind of an interesting new vibe that's coming in, and I'm really enjoying it. I want to be a part of the carrying it forward. So anyway, married, 2 kids in University of Wyoming.
Well, questions?
Rick, right?
Yeah.
I want to thank you for applying. I mean, it's really good to have people in the community step up and want to give back when they have time like this, and I really appreciate you doing that. I'm not sure, I kind of got a 2-part question. What can you tell me, what do you think the Park and Recs board is purpose and what do they do, you know?
Well, it's to move forward public recreation, and what I've seen from your budget, it's about 180,000, and that was 2019, I think I looked at, and it seemed to me you're putting money towards youth is probably the lion's share, as I can remember, adult, something called public ranges, which I probably need to understand a little bit better, and then winter rec. So I think that is very purposeful to be a funding source to help the recreation in the community at a broad scale, including the TC and Powell and all around.
And kind of with that, with the possibility of plenty revenue in the future moving forward with the board, do you have any expectations or ideas on how to continue?
I have a 2-part answer to that. I think we're all looking for solid, sustainable revenue streams. And the last probably 5-6 years in the government, we were flatlined in the National Park Service an awful lot. So that's not a new area for me. I know if you asked Mike Fink up at the rec center, he'd get hired by answering Mike, hey Mike, I got the new thing to do to create some revenue around here. I've got this suggestion. I'm very much into the suggestion of the day. And, you know, I think there's some untapped things there. And I think there's also some ideas for cutting costs that may, now I don't know about for the board, but I mean, if I was looking at things, I did a lot of solar energy projects. And I'm very interested in energy analysis and savings that way. I know the biggest thing in most payrolls is salaries and benefits and things like that. But there are other ways to find efficiencies. And, you know, there's always the grant writing and everything else. That was a mainstream activity that I did. Anytime you do multi-million-dollar projects, you usually have to appeal to a higher source in DC or someplace to get funds. And, you know, so you might have a $5-6 million project, but 3 came out of DC and 2 came from somewhere else. One thing about my career, not this last winter, but the winter before, I spent 2 months on St. Thomas and was loaned out to FEMA for hurricane relief. And it was another education about funding sources and trying to find money for those kinds of things. So I think that's always on the table. And I know this board may be set up in a situation where people come forward, but finding new revenue streams, finding efficiencies, and you know, really scanning the public for new innovations, I think is really key. Did I come close to answering your question?
What's that?
Did I come close to answering that?
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's a right answer. I'm looking for one because I'm hoping I can get some wisdom from you.
But it's a hard one, and I know there's.
It's tough.
It is tough, and especially with economies changing, with, you know, where do you go for the new sources? I'm I would say it comes $500,000.
No, Rick, I appreciate you applying for this, and believe me, I think it's very important to the community. It's just, as a manager of the tax dollars, it's how do you justify where the money can go? There's only so much to go around. So I
absolutely.
can see anybody on this board is going to be faced with some tough times, especially over here. So, thanks for coming.
Okay, leave behind you there on the screen.
I've got no questions, Rick. I appreciate you applying, and look with your background, look like you'd be a good fit. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks for applying, Rick. You talked about coaching and bringing your kids up. Have you sat on very many of the boards that dealt with youth sports or that type of thing in the past?
Not in Park County. The only board I was on in Park County was about, don't quote me on this, 15, 20 years ago. I was on the Historic Preservation Board here. Glenn, what is his name, was on that. Glenn Holm. I think he was the chair of that or something like that. Yeah, I was on a few years.
Okay. How do you feel about board work? Do you like working with other people, that type of?
Collaborative work is kind of just part and parcel of everything I've done. I've probably done 30 to 35 projects in about 20 national parks, working with their staffs, whether it's like Gail's when I was on the first one-use planning team back in right after the big fire, and on and on and on. Every time I go to a park, I'm not going to a new board, so to speak, because you have the superintendent and all their division chiefs and everybody else. And you're coming in, and yeah, we're under the same banner, but we are, there's building rapport before you build a project, so to speak. So collaborative work is just part and parcel to everything I've done in my career.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again for applying.
No, you answered my big questions for budget experience and then board experience. So we appreciate your you applying. Certainly have a good resume.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, the typical budget, I was the last 20 years, I lived in Cody, worked down in Bighorn Canyon, started phasing into kind of a 2 days there, 2 days telework, but typically my budget, I was chief of natural and cultural resources. They're also working with about a budget of 900,000 to $1 million, and then also assistant superintendent, and then I just ended my career. I wanted to go back to my roots as a landscape architect, so I gave up all supervision and just wanted to do planning, design, and construction. And I really liked, I got a little bit of feedback and still implementing some things I had to work on. But the one thing that's very evident to me from the pandemic was, I'm a regular upstairs in the rec center, doing everything else everybody else does. I'm missing some people. They're not showing up. A lot of seniors. And, I think the youth have come back. I've seen the swimming pools filled with their competitions. The basketball court's going good with all the moms and dads in the stands with the mask on and everything else. But the seniors aren't there. It's just, and that's kind of a social arena quite a bit. And so what I'm really getting at is that I always knew physical activity, the great outdoors, the biking club, the running club, there's a phenomenal mental health aspect to it. And that's probably what pushed me forward here, is if, now I'm really seeing it big time with the pandemic. It just held a searchlight on the mental health aspect of recreation. I have designed parks, I have designed campgrounds, I have designed concession fields, roads, you name it. I've been out there building in a lot of different states. But I don't think I really put my arms around the mental health until this pandemic hit. And I'll just leave it at that. Do you have Anything else?
Any other questions? I don't have any questions. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Nobody there?
He's here. We just stepped into the restroom. Yeah.
Okay. Come on in, sir. Pull up a chair right up front there.
Right here.
Yes, sir. And you can take your mask off to talk, so we can all hear you. I'm deaf and opposed. So, anyway, the way we work this, we'll give you an opportunity to talk about yourself, tell us what you want to, and then we'll ask some questions.
Okay, well, that sounds, I moved to this area about 2 years ago. And prior to that, I was 25 years out of the country. And prior to that, I lived here about 22 years, right here in Cody. And I was born here. Worked on a farm, father's farm for quite a while. I'm a geologist. Most of my work has been overseas. I've managed some pretty big operations. We found and developed a mine in Spain, and another mine in Spain, a nickel mine in Spain, and then sold that company. And then we came over here and worked for Canadian company, but mostly in Arizona and Nevada. And I've worked as an executive for 25 years as an exploration manager. And I had up to, well, one time 90 people working for me. And on a very complex project where you had to deal with a lot of people. Mine we put into production had 100 different surface owners. And as you can imagine, it was to acquire the land, acquire the rights to mine it. It had only been 2,000 years since the last mine. That was at the time of Christ. That's when he was over there. So it's hard to convince anybody, first of all, there was gold out there, and secondly, that you could make money at it. By the time we were done developing out there, we had already completed most of our reclamation. And people say, well, how is that possible? Well, we did all the stripping and put all the waste material into piles, reseeded it, and had a farmer out there refarming the ground that we had excavated for the open pit. By the time we opened the mine, and it was for me one of the accomplishments I was most proud of, because the King of Spain and the Queen came over to inaugurate the company or inaugurate the mine. And it's not that I'm that good a geologist or anything else. It's just that I have the good fortune to work with some very good, talented people. And they were, well, without exception, they were remarkable. And some of them I've worked with for 40 years. It's been I worked with them in the US with a different company. And when I was managing a company in Spain, I brought them over there, as many as I could. And then when we went back to the US, I was working for a Canadian company, and I hired as many as I could, once again, for the Canadian company. And it's, in geology, or especially in exploration, it is a function of teamwork. And that's what does it. And you have to, you have to make that connection between people with a plan and a vision of how to accomplish your goals. Once you've done that, I think that's the hardest part of management. In zoning, I look at the zoning here, and I look at a lot of it, looks like it's been quite well done in comparison with other areas I've seen. But I also think there are changes that could be made that I would like to be part of.
Good. Lord, questions?
Eugene, I have a couple. I don't know if the rest of the board knows, but Eugene also just recently spent several meetings with our Natural Resource Management Plan Committee.
Mhm.
And I appreciate your time you put in on that, and the time you're willing by applying for this. Being born and raised here,
Yes.
and then moved away,
Yes.
seen a lot of the world, and you come back. How have we done? As far as planning and zoning, do you like the county, the directions it's headed?
There's some places I can't say how you've improved over since I left, because it's too many years ago.
Yeah.
25 years. I could talk about
Do you like where we are now? Let's move back.
Well, that's a good question. There are some things that I think, I think there should be more emphasis on the preservation of good farmland. I would love to see that. And try to keep housing and development and everything off of the good farmland. And there's plenty of areas in the Bighorn Basin, I'm not talking about, I can't address the ownership of them, but there are plenty of areas in the Bighorn Basin that you could develop housing. And without having issues of water, not enough water, or issues of waste, sewage, I think those are the important things that really bring up difficulties when you've got a lot of people in houses close together. But traffic, that's one thing I see is different. I guess, for me, one of the most horrid things I see is where there's an absence of planning or zoning is, what can I use? The road between Shoshone and Riverton. What they've set up there essentially is a town or a city that's 30 miles long and, 1 block wide or less. And that's not really good development. It's just not a good use of water, infrastructure, everything. It's just a poor way to develop because it's a waste of everything, a waste of infrastructure. And I understand people want to do that. They want to live next to the road. When you get a town 20 miles long, it's kind of what I see happening between Powell and Cody. It'll be the Powell-Cody combined residential, or not residential, but, city. And you'll be driving down a 4-lane highway, the stoplights and everything, trying to wade your way through traffic, just because you have one road and everybody's built around that single road. And I think that's what you'd like to avoid, and I've seen it avoided. I've seen some developments that are really quite well done.
Mr. Chairman, follow-up. Eugene, I look in your resume and your application number. You are currently still a consulting geologist?
Yes.
So you do understand this is probably your most complex to committees and boards, and it takes quite a bit of time, and you're willing to commit to that?
Yes, I am.
You must. I just didn't know, realize what you're getting into here.
Well, I think I do.
Okay,
I might not.
that's all I have.
Okay. Lee's on the screen behind it.
Eugene, I appreciate you applying, and I think with your historical background here, being a Park County native, you might bring a pretty unique perspective to the P&Z board. But you've pretty much answered all my questions just in what you've given in your background. So again, I appreciate you applying. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha?
Eugene, again, thanks for serving on the NRMP. I know we spent some long evenings together doing some of that work. Boards, you talked about some of your other service with companies and your work and the mines. Have you served on other boards before?
Yes.
And can you elaborate on that?
Well, I'm currently a director of for two companies.
Okay.
And I'm a technical advisor for two other companies.
Okay.
Yeah, I've served on boards for almost 30 years, 25 years. I started on a board because I was one of the few officers in the original company in Spain, but been on boards ever since then. And I'm president on two boards.
Are those business boards or are they public service type like this is?
No, they're business.
Business,
Yeah.
okay. Done any public service type boards, volunteer boards?
No.
Okay. I mean, they don't work much different. I was just curious.
There is a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, they have different roles, but yeah. Well, thanks for applying. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Derek?
No questions. I appreciate your resume and your time. You certainly be a good fit. We appreciate you applying.
Well, thank you.
I got one quick question for you. From what you know of Park County P&Z right now, do you think we have too many regulations? Not enough regulations?
I can't comment on that, Joe, because I'm not that familiar with regulations. That's something that I will need to be if, in that position. I can't comment.
I appreciate your honesty and thank you for your application. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Now comes the hard part, figuring all this out.
I have a couple of questions, but we can hit them as we go through, if you like.
Do what?
I said I do have a couple of questions, but we can hit them as you go, however you want to go. If you want to start at the top, or you want me to just randomly ask?
Well, I tell you, once you hold your question until we get to a particular board, I thought we'd just go right down the list here.
Okay.
All right, the first one we have is the Buffalo Bill Dam Visitor Center. We had some new applications. And we have two positions to fill, and Greg Irwin and John Kearns both reapplied. So which pleasure there?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we reappoint Greg Irwin and John Kearns to the Buffalo Bill Dam Visitor Center.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Oh, carriers. Okay. The next on the TC Local Planning Committee, and the problem we have there, we interviewed Mary Rumsey, the only application we have, and we got 4 positions to fill. So my recommendation would go ahead and appoint Mary, and I guess re-advertise.
Mr. Chairman, we just advertised though.
I
And we
understand.
got nothing. I'm not.
Yeah.
Are we wasting money? Do we sit on this thing for 90 days and advertise again? Do we have ask Mary to recruit? I just don't want to blow $300 or $400 on advertising again. And
Mr. Chairman, I somewhat agree with you. My question is, do the current board members get notified that
Yes,
they're,
they get notified through letter and email.
they obviously didn't reapply, so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
how about if we ask Susan to call
Well, that was gonna be my
him?
skill.
You spoke to him? What'd you say? Because you just told me you sent an email and a letter.
Yeah, and then I called them on Monday and said, where are we at with any of this? And none of them were interested. I did have a call.
You got a hold of all 4 of them?
I did.
Huh?
They weren't interested.
Or
How long a position is this?
The 3-year.
3 years?
3 years?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
My only concern is that we are hopefully going to start into the land use plan. And if we're gonna start into that, I think it's pretty important that Matisse has a group that is
Okay.
representing them. So I would agree with the re-advertising. Maybe we wait a couple months and give Mary some time to recruit. And then advertise.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that then. We'll appoint Mary. And we'll ask her to beat the bushes down there in Matisse, and then we'll wait 60, 90 days and
Okay.
then go ahead.
Can I ask one, I agree
Yeah.
with everything. My question is, if we don't get support, can we as commission disband this committee?
We
We'll go close and do that before you got on.
We were in the process of disbanding it a couple of years ago because we couldn't get anybody to apply.
Right.
And these people stepped up and said, no, we want this.
So can we forward that to Mary as basically the only member at this point? And if in 60 days, we don't have at least 3 other applicants, that this committee may no longer exist?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I move to appoint Mary Rumsey then as
Okay.
Matisse Planning Committee.
There we go, second.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor, signify by
Aye.
aye. Good.
Mr. Chairman, should somebody contact Angie or Mayor Yetter? And see if they have,
I'll give Andy a call.
okay,
Yeah.
tell her what we got.
Yeah.
And tell her it's important
Oh,
with
it's
this,
important.
with this plan coming up.
You're right. Okay. I can go Andy.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask the question then? So when I speak to Mary today, and when I send her email along with her letter and her handbook, how many days, shall I say 60 or 90?
What's pleasure?
60,
16?
60 days?
try to get in touch.
Yeah, and I would tell her that if we can't get some more applicants, we can't have a board of one person, so we'll probably disband.
Okay, shall I tell her we're going to put an advertisement back out for it, or we're just gonna give her the application letter? Good.
No, we'll be going ahead and re-advertise it. So make a note of that, re-advertise in
Okay.
60 days. All right. Okay, moving on down the line. Next one would be the Park County Fair Advisory Board. We got 2 positions to fill. The 2 current board members, Tiffany Brando and Shane Smith, have reapplied, and we interviewed Andrea and Heather Morrison today. So, what?
Mr. Chairman, my question is, I know Shane is a new board member. Lee, you may have input on this. Do we know how many terms the current Tiffany and Shane? I think Shane's in the first. How long
Shane's
has-
just finishing up his first, I believe Tiffany is finishing up her second, or she might have been, and Joe, this is making me think, I'm not sure if she was appointed to a full term or if she was appointed to fill a vacant term. But I believe she's in her, at least her second.
Yeah, so I guess Lee, my question to you is, and Doctor, please weigh in on this. I've heard some questions raised about Shane, whether he's attending the meetings and really an active participant in the board.
He sometimes has trouble showing up to the meetings. You know, he gets pretty busy and I mean, I have trouble showing up to the meetings, but I'm not appointed to that board. Dossie's
Right.
taken that over completely. But, yeah, he does, you know, and it's a struggle there. You know, I think both Andrea and Heather are great candidates. You know, I think we might lean towards Andrea. I don't know how Shane's going to take it if he's not reappointed, but it's for the good of the board. It's not a popularity contest.
Hey, Dossie, got anything you want to add?
No, I would agree with Lee's assessment of what we've seen.
Okay, thank you. All right, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion, we appoint Tiffany Brando and Andrea Lee Earhart to the Park County Fair Advisory Board.
You want to handle them both at the same time? Any controversy there? We have a second to the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. And this be a motion to reappoint Tiffany Brando and appoint Andrea Earhart as the new applicant. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed, motion carries. Great, thank you. Not this easier than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, next we have Park County Historic Preservation Commission. We have 4 positions.
Actually, we have 5, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, 5. We just got a resignation from Mr. Houston. Just came in. And the current board members have all reapplied. And so basically, if you want to reappoint the current board members, we have 1 applicant and 1 space available.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Board?
My question is, we have positions though. 1 Powell, 2 at large, and 1 Cody. How are we currently, how does that reflect on the people that have reapplied? I mean, is that,
They replied for
are we
their
good with,
position. They replied for their,
and where does Ray Maple fall into this?
He
you
would-
take Ken Houston's place, the gentleman that just resigned today,
Right,
and he is at Cody at large.
at large, so Ray would qualify.
Correct, that's-
Yes, okay.
All right, we got a motion to reappoint and then.
Second.
We got a second? Further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, Park County Parks and Rec Board, we have 3 positions to fill. With the exception of Warren Grosdolph, he did turn in an application, but it was just, in case you can't find anybody else, I'll do it again. So I would say he's probably out, so we have, Andy Metzler and Colleen Metzler. And then we also have one other position, we interviewed Brian and Richard Lasco today. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I'd make a motion that we reappoint Andy Metzler, Colleen Metzler, and appoint Richard Lasco.
got a second to that?
Second.
So what is Colleen's deal again, though? I thought
She put her application in as she did like Lauren did. She's from in the Powell area. And she said she would fill the position if no one else applied for the
Oh,
Powell.
okay.
from Powell, because
Yeah.
this sheet says no requirement, but there is a,
Well, that's what they're put in, they're slotted in, but there is no requirement for these board appointments. I looked it up.
oh, well, if there's no requirement for Colleen and she's like Lauren, right?
Right, she's like Lauren.
Well, then these 2 are dying to get in.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would redo my motion to then reappoint Andy Metzler and appoint Brian Bavay and Richard Lasco.
Okay.
Okay, we got a second to that.
Yes.
Okay, discussion on the motion, all those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
That's great. That's good, huh?
Yeah, that's neat. Okay, the next one's a tough one. This is Park County Planning and Zoning Commission. We have 1 position to fill. And the current board member, Duncan, I think we're Duncan Bonan.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's reapplied. Go with pleasure.
I make a motion, we reappoint Duncan Bonine.
Okay,
Second.
further discussion? Boyd?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to, how long has Bowman been on PZ Commission?
I think there's one.
Let me look here real quick now.
So while she's getting that, Mr. Chairman, if I may offer some constructive criticism, I would recommend we interview everybody. The existing people, the incumbents or whatever, and the new people, because, so it looks like my predecessor coming in, he doesn't know any of these people. And if you could look him in the eye and say, have you met all your meetings? No, I've been to about half. Can you commit to 80%? Well, I can't, or you might get a new person that's a rock star, which happened to us. We appointed somebody for the damn visitors board because we had a great applicant. Well, the board and this other woman were great too, but she never even got a chance to tell us about herself. And I never even met her. And so I think some of this comes to mind with Duncan not being able to interview too. So it doesn't help her now, but in the future, whoever's chair, I would just encourage interviewing all applicants.
I guess, and I want to say, I have an issue with so many realtors on a P&Z committee, and I think we're all overstaffed with realtors on it. Not saying they don't have good input, but I think we need a P&Z commission that has a wider background. And to me, we have good applicants here that I would like to see him. Not saying he's been bad, but I just feel that it's time to widen the commissions.
So, Mr. Chairman, he's
Yeah.
only been on there for one term.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, we do have a motion in a second, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. Further discussion? Lord, your points are well taken. All those in favor of the motion, signify by aye.
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 Lee, were you and I or?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay.
Go out in style.
Executive session?
Yeah,
Hold on a minute, I gotta shut this thing off.
Yeah, just a minute, I got
again, Leo, I don't know, we may or may not be taking action after the executive session. I will stick around.
All right, so I'll pause this then just for now.